Hello everyone, I'm Mike from the Self App, and thank you for listening to the Self App podcast. This is a show where we discuss all things good thoughts, good words, good deeds related, and interview people passionate about being their best self and who are helping others to be their best self too. Some of the segments include Coaching Clinic, where we talk to psychologists, motivational thinkers, and life coaches. Book Club, where we discuss and share reviews on our favourite books. Startup Spotlight, taking a pre-seed and more often than not non-techie view on starting a business and running a business. Health and Fitness Hustle, where we provide tips, tricks and training from experts. And Esoteric Edge, a look at hidden or secret philosophy and how it can help you be your best self. If you haven't already, please download the Self App, where we deliver you a collection of tools to help you be your best self, and 3% of all our profits are donated to charity. Hello everyone, I'm Mike from the Self App. Thank you for tuning in. Today, it's my privilege to introduce you to Simone Yammine. Simone grew up in Brazil in a family of textile manufacturers who develop product for local and international brands. Inspiring Simone from a young age, she went on to FAAP, a top Brazilian fashion design school. After a very successful career as a fashion designer and textiles distributor in Brazil, Simone pursued a desire to learn English and migrated to Australia. Today, she's the founder of Bondi brand Eden Organic, and we're going to find out more about her own label. So Simone, thank you so much for joining me today. Would you mind taking us back in your story a little bit to the point where you decided to leave Brazil for Sydney and what really either inspired that or drove that, whichever way you depend to look at it?
Hi, Mike. First of all, thank you for having me here. I'm very glad to be part of the show. Doing such a dramatic change was very challenging to me. But after working for so many years in the same company, I realized that it was time to move on, doing something new or learning something new. So I decided to have 1 year off, like a sabbatic year to learn English and increasing my skills, doing a marketing course here in Australia. So that was the goal, spending 1 year in Australia and come back and start looking for something more challenging, like open the business for international world. But I fell in love with Australia and I decided to stay here. So building everything from the beginning, starting everything from the beginning was very challenging because when you don't speak the language, you need to truly start from zero. No network, no friends, nothing. So, but Australia is just an amazing place and which pay off.
Well, look, I'm really glad to hear it has paid off, but let's dig a little bit deeper into some of those challenges, right? You just described a few of them. You know, no language, no friends, no network. Pretty terrifying to take a leap from a true comfort zone into everything that's unknown and almost in some ways truly foreign, right? Like the language, the people, the culture, being away from family and friends. How did that initial, I guess, culture shock and some of the challenges of relocating shape, one, your desire to stay in Australia, and two, the desire to launch Eden Organic?
It was very challenging to have everything new. To be honest, the first 2 months, I was very in doubt about what I was doing. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing because it's such a massive change. Massive. So that's what you say, like how you need to leave your comfort zone. But in another way, there is a massive difference of culture as well. But Australia has something that it's very nice and that I think I connect myself very well, which is the connection with the nature. So everyone spend time outdoor, and also I see Australia more aware about organic stuff, sustainable stuff. But because when I moved to Australia, I had one friend. He wasn't my friend, but it was some Brazilian who spent some time with me, and he says he was living here for 2 years. So he says to me, look, if you want to buy your grocery store, if you want something very basic, very simple, go to Aldi. It's the basic, as a very commodity grocery store, supermarket. If you want something better, go to Harris Farm. If you want something intermediate, you go to Coles and Woolies. Of course, I'm Brazilian, I'm new, I didn't have any money. I went straight away to Aldi. Straight away. And when when I get into Aldi, I was so surprised. They had so many products organic. So I say, hey, hold on. So if Aldi, which is the cheapest supermarket in the entire Australia, they have let's say 30% or 20% of the range organic, there is a niche that people were thinking about, that people were looking at, that they do care about their organic stuff. So then that started to motivate me to bring all my knowledge. I started to research about organic clothing, sustainable brands and ethical brands in Australia. And I see, as in the entire world, nowadays is growing a lot, but even now you don't have many options. You do have options, and I hope more and more brand will start doing it. I don't want to. It should be something explosive for some brands. I see that maybe in the future everyone will become sustainable and organic, but by now that's not the reality. So then I see an opportunity to start something new and to bring all this idea, build a brand. And I have all the network in Brazil that I was, I was working with. So that's how it started.
Fantastic. So one of the things that I love about your brand, and by the way, congratulations on your feature in the Sydney Morning Herald. I thought that was fantastic publicity for you. Well deserved. There's a real social impact and I guess a lens of conscious capitalism to what you're doing as well. It's not just about finding a niche and moving into a blue ocean for you, Simone. There is a real mission to help others that really underlies the ethos to Eden Organic. Tell us a little bit about the supply chain and just how traditional fashion gets to market. What are some of the things people don't understand about that, and then how your product gets to market and all of the goodness that goes into that supply chain?
Yeah, that's something so important that people don't see. Brands, they don't show. But when you are a designer, most of the brands, if they want one product, they don't care. I will give you an example. A massive brand, American brand, when they came to in Brazil, in the manufacturer that I was working, they came in and say, look, we would like to have this. Was a denim paint. They came and say, look, we would like to have this product in line. We were already producing to massive production, and they said, I would like this product in line for the next season. Let's develop. So we start doing the creation, developing all the product, and then one day it was impossible to work in the laundry because the treatment that we have to do to get what the customer wanted was so aggressive, was so toxic. We have to use so many chemicals that was impossible to work not even closer to the department. And then we came to the customer and say, look, we cannot make that because it's impossible to breathe. it's too harmful, it's too strong. We need to change. And they say, no, we want that. That's what we want. We cannot change anything. That's the product that we want. And then that was the designer. And I say, we did a meeting with the director because the designer, they want and that. And then we came up with the director, and the director says, look, that's the product that we want. If you're not able to do it, someone else will do it. And we explain that involves healthy. The workers will be very sick. Can you understand that is very harmful? If you don't do it, if you don't get the order, someone will get. That's it. So we decide to cancel the production. But that's the mentality. I don't care if someone is dying. I wanted the product. I don't care if someone is working and cannot support their own family with the basic needs. I do want my price. So when you see that, it's very sad, but and unfortunately that's the reality, and we see that more and more often in news in Bangladesh, in China, anywhere, even in Brazil. So people they too lock in make profit in any cost, but a lot of people will start being more aware and more conscious that is not the way that it is, that's not the right way. And so then we stopped, and then when you see the situation where people could get cancer, and massive brands, they don't give, it's shocking. So then with Eden, we make sure that we have this since from the plantation of the cotton. So all the farmers who work with us, we make sure about to pay them more than the financial market, 20% cheap, because they are small. They're not a big company. So you need to understand the needs of the people who work with you. You need to understand the impact that you're making everywhere that your business are passing through. So since the beginning, since the raw materials, the manufacturers, even the delivery, everything must be you must look after what's the impact that it's the person who is making your clothes. They have what would I say, not dignity, like the normal life. Are they okay? Are they living well? Does their life, you helping with their lives, so a lot of people they working like a slave just to make the money to eat. So, and the companies are responsible for that. They don't take responsibility because they don't need to, but you are responsible for what's happening with people who work with you, even indirectly. Yeah, so with Eden, we make sure to close the whole chain, make sure that everything everyone is doing well. Everyone is it is good for them as well. How the business is impacting their lives. Yeah,
and it's good for the earth too. We had a chat recently where you were telling me that, coming back to your earlier story about the production of this toxic chemicals, I mean, you were saying a little bit about the nature of how many chemicals and pesticides go into non-organic cotton and what that does to the earth. And the people who typically farm cotton also eat out of the state. They grow their own food because, they're living such a a life of subsistence, as you described. Talked about that a little bit, because your process really turns the earth organic, and just in that part of the supply chain itself, you're having a profound impact. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So yeah, the organic cotton basically is the same. Well, not the same. They change a lot of things in the cotton. So the cotton nowadays is genetically modified to support to be able to have a lot of chemicals, because what happened is there is a lot of drugs for cotton. So they changed the DNA of the cotton to be able to get a lot of pesticides and do not die. Because if it's the natural one, with the amount of pesticides that they put on, the cotton will be gone. The plant will die. So they change it, the DNA of the cotton, for the cotton resist to all chemicals for the bugs. Which is very bad, because sometimes if you can see in Google like how they spread the pesticide. They came with an airplane, because the farms are massive farms. So they came with an airplane, throwing the pesticides everywhere, over house, over plantation of everyone. So what happened is all this poison, very, very harmful and strong poisons, goes to the soil and end up in the water as well, because everything is connected. And like all the farmers and the town, because that usually is not in the city, so all the country towns, they got the consequence about these pesticides. So it's everything have poison. Like even if it's indirectly as well, even if it's not only in the plantation, everything around, the water, you end up having the poison in the water, and you don't even know that's happening, but it is happening. So a lot of diseases come and you don't even know what's happening. And in organic cotton, it's completely different. So you get a land and you work on the land. Sometimes it's never been planted anything there, but usually it is. So you convert the land for organic. So that takes like around 5 years to become organic soil. And in the meantime, you cultivate the I would say in an old-fashioned way, like with everything natural, everything organic. So the soil end up very rich, and so because Earth, the soil is alive, so it's part of the planet, it's part of the system. So it is alive. So if you put a lot of poison, there was one time they would die. There is nothing to do. People give up about the land. That happens a lot. So you plant, poison, give up about the land, find another spot, done. So with organic, you don't need that. You can see a big, massive difference about that. So even when we start doing organic, what was many years ago, to start to convince small farmers, they are already countryside people. So to convince them to become organic producer was very hard, because they couldn't believe that you can plant everything naturally with a natural pesticides. I would say it's not pesticide, but herbicides. It's like instead of you put poison, you put something else that the frog doesn't like, or in the middle of the plantation, you put something that the frog likes more. They will eat something else instead of your cotton. So there is many ways to manage the bugs without just killing them. So they couldn't believe that would be possible. So it was very hard to insist them to start it. So, but some of them, they will give a go, because they didn't have any option. Like they were they were selling the cotton for massive companies who would pay nothing for that, and they were about to sell the land to. I remember that one of the wives of the farmer, she was about to find a job because she couldn't survive from the plantation. And I mean a job, it's like being a cleaner for someone else, which in Brazil you don't have is not Australia. Here a cleaner can make a lot of money, like in Brazil, no, is the last pay that you can get. So when you see that, you see someone who owns a land and do a good plantation but cannot survive. So some of those people, they converted the land, and after a few years, the other farmers start to see how healthy was the farm, how healthy was the plantation, because the soil respond about nutrients, care. If that's what I say, the soil is alive. So as much as you give, as much you look after, I mean, like with good food for the soil, it responds. So even when you plant any seeds, sometimes, for example, you plant 10 seeds, maybe six seeds will grow. The other 4 will die. That's natural. That's normal. But in organic, if you have a very rich soil with all of the stuff, from 10 seeds, sometimes 11 will grow. And 11, I mean, from 1, you grow 2, and sometimes more. There was a research that happens with corn. They have 130% of the plantation. They planted 100, like the seeds, and 130% grows. So rich it is. So, but people forget about that. People forget that everything is part of life, like even the soil.
Indeed. And look, I want to fast forward a little bit, because that story hopefully shares with our audience just how beautiful the intent is behind the product that you make, and the product that is really a work of passion for you, because it's a side hustle at the moment. It's something that you've been a student, and you've had to only be able to work 20 hours and then divert lots of resources into this. What I want to share with the audience is a little bit about how that's been going for you, because I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm here to the audience who are viewing on our YouTube channel, on the Self Out Podcast YouTube channel. I'm wearing an Eden Organic shirt right now. It is beautiful. You can see on the back there's a gorgeous Brazilian yantra. I'm very fortunate to have a product of Simone's, and she has amazing product in her store, and there'll be a link on our website to it, and hopefully in the podcast that you're tuning into, so that you can check out some Simone's beautiful product for herself. But tell us a little bit about how the business is going at the moment and where you'd really like to take it.
Yeah, so as a small business, and I have to share with my normal life, it's everything very slow, but at the moment, like COVID came, I see the opportunity to do the face masks, because nowadays, the disposable masks is just such a waste. So I start doing the organic, using the organic fabric. It's very soft and also very protective. So I've done that, and I'm already designed the next collection. So It's a very exciting moment. Yeah, very, very exciting moment. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. And what I'd love to find out, because we're moving towards the end of our segment today, a little bit about you, Simone. Tell us, who and what are you grateful for throughout all of this journey? Having moved from Brazil, having brought social conscience into founding a business, deciding that Australia is home for you. Throughout all of that, you must have had many highs and many lows. But what remains in you as a sense to be thankful for?
Definitely my entire family. They teach me, they taught me everything about business. They taught me everything about values, about how to become a good human being. Well, I hope I am. But I think the education I had and everything that they provide, um, I think most of the values that I have it comes from my education. Yeah, so definitely I'm very grateful to have my entire family.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And one final question before we wrap up our segment today, Simone. If you were to leave our audience, our listeners, with a single piece of advice to help them be their best self, what is one piece of advice you can share from your journey?
That's something that really helps me. It's something that I see somewhere. Someone says that everyone should have 4 hobbies. One hobby one hobby that you make money. So that's your work, but you must work. So that you should see it as a hobby. One hobby to keep you fit. One hobby to work with your spirituality, and one hobby to develop your creativity. So if you find something that you have time to share everything, I think that's a very good balance in anyone's life. You must have skills, and that's something that you love and have passion to do it, something that will make your body healthy to be able to do anything in life. Because that's the minimum that we have, is to have health, and I'm grateful to be very healthy as well. And something that stimulates your creativity and spirituality, who connects you with everything.
Wonderful. So something to make money, a hobby to make money, a hobby to keep you fit, a hobby to develop spirituality, and a hobby to develop creativity. That's a wonderful bit of advice for everyone. Well, Simone, I'm so grateful for you for coming on the show today and sharing us about the history of Eden Organic and where you're intending to take this beautiful brand. If people want to find out more, what is your website?
EdenOrganic.co.
Eden Organic. That's EdenOrganic.co. For all of our listeners out there. And I'll have a link on the selfapp.com website as well. I'll showcase one of the products from Simone's site so you can go straight through. Again, remember that if you can, please, I encourage you to buy one of her beautiful products because you know now just how much value the supply chain and these farmers in Brazil are getting out of it, and everyone all the way through that chain. To our audience, thank you so much for listening. And before you go today, I ask you do us a good deed and share this with one other person. Please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you tuned in. For more Best Self goodness, you can find us on social by searching for The Self App. And from us to you, keep up the good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, and continue to level up your best self. Goodbye, everyone.